Alright everyone, 4 scores and several weekends ago in an epic 30+ minute safety video involving ninja squirrels and a truly awful stick figure cartoon, I used some simple water analogies to discuss voltage, current, and resistance. I described current as the actual water flowing downhill. It is the amount of water flowing past a point in a certain amount of time. Similarly, electric current is the amount of charge flowing past a given point in a certain amount of time. So, what the heck is a charge, and who owes me money? Well, Ben Franklin owes you money, but we'll get to that. Patience. We're going to talk about atoms and free electrons and such in a future video, but for the sake of keeping things relevant to this video, charge is either an excess or deficiency of electrons. Think of it as having two buckets. One is full of rocks and the other's full of nothing. It's empty like your soul after a breakup. It just wants some love, and the other bucket has plenty. Well, we could share and pour some rocks into the empty bucket from the full bucket. See where I'm going with this? It's a metaphor. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that the bucket full of rocks is being smothered and it just wants space. Like a good dad with 12 kids that just love him to death. Sometimes he just wants what the other bucket has. A little bit of space. So, I mean, we could share and move some of that space from the empty bucket to the full bucket. So if you haven't followed the analogy very well, the rocks are electrons and the buckets represent charge. Now here lies the problem, which is the topic of this video. Are the rocks moving from the full bucket to the empty bucket, or is the space moving from the empty bucket to the full bucket? In our water analogy with the river, it's pretty clear to see that the actual water is flowing downhill. There really isn't any question about it because we can see it flowing downhill. But with electricity, we can't exactly see which way it's flowing. If you remember much from chemistry class, or if you don't, that's okay too, you'll remember in atoms we have protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are positively charged, neutrons have neutral charge, and electrons we say have negative charge. A stable atom typically has equal numbers of protons and electrons, but if you remove an electron from it, you could say it has a net positive charge because it has more protons than electrons now. It is like the sad empty bucket that just wants some love. Our sad empty bucket has a net positive charge. Likewise, our bucket full of rocks has a net negative charge because it is like an atom with extra electrons instead of fewer compared to protons. Well, there was this pretty smart dude named Ben Franklin a long time ago that liked to play with lightning. He flew a kite or something, invented lightning rods, and liked putting his face on $100 bills. He surmised that electricity flowed from the positive bucket to the negative bucket. He was kind of a downer who just wanted to spread sadness. He was a sad bucket. Okay, he didn't actually know which way it flowed. He just made his best guess because back then there really wasn't any way to know for sure. Electricity is small. It's magic. You can't really see magic. That's kind of the point. So Ben Franklin was wrong, which is why he owes you money. That's why his face is on all the $100 bills. It's a proverbial IOU from him to you. There was another smart dude named Mr. Sir Joseph John Thompson who came along about 100 years later. He was a physicist who discovered the electron, but wasn't cool enough to be on the $100 bills. He figured out that it's actually electrons moving from negative to positive when electrical current exists. So, in other words, electricity flows from the full bucket to the empty bucket, negative to positive, and Ben Franklin owes us money. So what does all this mean to us? Why should you care about the buckets? Well, honestly, it doesn't mean much to us. When Mr. Not As Cool Sir J.J. Thompson was doing his experiments and discovered electrons, the formulas he had to work with were those established previously based on Ben Franklin's work. The formulas still work. We just need to pick a convention and stick with it and sometimes be aware of our negative signs. At the end of the day, it mostly doesn't matter how we look at the buckets, whether the emptiness is flowing to the full bucket or the rocks are flowing to the empty bucket. It's still flowing, and that's what matters. There are some times that the conventional symbols we use lend themselves better to conventional flow theory, and they make a little more sense. One example is the diode symbol. It's literally an arrow pointing in the direction current allegedly flows through it. Whichever way we look at it, it's still important we pick a direction to work with and stick with it. This will become more obvious further down the road. So all this begs a question. Which way does the electron flow? Which convention am I going to use going forward? Well, I'll be using electron flow theory. So the rocks will be flowing from the full bucket to the empty bucket, and the water will be flowing downstream. I like things that make sense. I've gone through many textbooks, some that use conventional, some that use electron flow, and still some that try to mix both along the way. I like the idea of trying to mix both to appeal to a broader audience, but in application I just found it confusing. So electron flow theory it is. If I come to points where it might make more sense to think about something in terms of conventional flow theory, I'll point it out. But as far as we're concerned going forward, electrical current always flows from negative to positive. If you are positively thrilled about the information in this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified about new videos. Also, don't forget to smash the like button and tell all your friends that Ben Franklin owes them money. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Life Meet Lightning, here to bring a little lightning into your life. There really isn't any... because it has more Well... I use some simple...